person that I know. From your early days travelling to the Far East, to your adventures with Rank Taylor Hobson. I think you've racked up more air miles than a commercial pilot. You've dined in fine restaurants, and maybe some not so fine, especially in the Far East in the 1970s. You've navigated meetings where you didn't speak the language, and yet have made lifelong friends. Your greatest gift, however, Dad, has not been the stamps in your passport. It has been your passion for your work, your achievements along the way, and the relationships built, all of which, even all these decades later, are still as strong as ever. Beyond your work and travels, Dad, what makes you truly remarkable is your spirit. You've never lost your sense of curiosity, wanting to know and keep up to date with what's going on in the world, embracing technology and wanting to know what's going on in your family's lives, and especially the boys. We often joke that Dad's diary is fuller than the boys with his social calendar. But how wonderful is that at 90? Amazing. Our lunches at Pembury always take priority. And when Dad and I meet up, we never stop talking for about 3 hours, to the point where we have to be thrown out at 4 o'clock because we're the last ones in there every single time. So today, Dad, is all about celebrating 90 fabulous years. And to your next chapter, may your next chapter hold experiences you equally cherish with family, your dear friends here today, and those not able to make it. So with that, would you now all please stand and raise your glasses to Brian, to pass over to Christopher.
Thank you. Okay, this may not be quite as impressive, but I'm not a professional public speaker. Grandpops, you've had one of the most incredible careers and lives of anyone I've ever met. And calling you well-travelled would be an understatement. It's fantastic to see so many people here to celebrate your birthday. To begin with some background that not everyone may know, after some recent family history research, we've revealed your descent from a petty criminal in St. Ives. And, thankfully, you didn't follow that career path. Instead, following your apprenticeship and moving into sales at Wilk Mellor Bromley, you embarked on journeys that most people in the world could only dream of. Back when travelling to East Asia involved stopping at Greece and India on the way to refuel, and cities which today are glass and concrete skyscrapers with just single-storey houses without even concrete tarmac roads. You travelled and brought innovative ideas selling knitting machinery to the burgeoning textile industries, and the number of places you visited is staggering. Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Japan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, India, hearing your stories, organising fashion shows in Bangkok, and eating all sorts of exotic foods with the most incredible places, inspired me and led me to visit many of those places about 40 years later. There are even some striking similarities of the photograph of you having just got off the plane in Hong Kong, finding yourself brought straight to a large Chinese New Year celebration, and my own experience of the exact same thing 40 years later. The jet-lagged, culture-shocked, and alcohol-induced smiles are almost identical. And later at Rank, your travels continued. France, Germany, Czechoslovakia, Russia even saw you visit. And of course with Cook, your many visits to Los Angeles and Hollywood. And throughout my school and university projects, you were able to give advice and give stories of all the different things you worked on. And of course the Cook lenses, which went on to win Emmys and Academy Awards, which we're all very proud of you. And the stories you've told of those times were fascinating and incredibly inspiring. I've loved your trips down to London and our lunches together back in the Midlands. I hope we can continue them for a long time. Thank you all for coming to celebrate today. And I'll pass over to Samuel for a few minutes.
Hello everyone, sorry, yes, I'm the third instalment. Yeah, so I just wanted to say that it's really great to see everyone gathered here today to celebrate Grandpops' 90th, to share stories about your life and everyone's life in connection to yours and enjoy each other's company. It's really great to see everyone together. Looking back to when Christopher and I were little, I'll always remember going around to stay with Grandma and Grandpops and the little treats that we were given to keep us entertained and looked after and to make sure that we weren't just sort of scurrying about everywhere. And always loved standing in the kitchen with Grandpops whilst he cooked dinner and shared his passion for food. He'd always talk me through what went in, where and when, and give me little packets of crisps so that I didn't start eating the ingredients midway through and ruin it before we'd even sat down. It's something we still always talk about to this day. What new recipes you've been making and what new dishes you've been sharing with your friends at Curry Club, which always provide me with plenty of inspiration to make new things and also make me quite jealous that I'm not there myself enjoying the food, because I'll get a phone call saying, oh, we've had this, that and this and the other, and then I'm sat there and I've not made anything yet, so I'm always quite jealous that I'm not there to join you. When we were really little, we used to sit around the table playing board games or drawing to keep us busy. And after a while, we'd filled up an entire door of Grandpops' offices with all manner of drawings and sketches that we'd made over the years, which were actually never taken down till a number of years later. I'm not sure whether they would have compared to the rest of the artwork in the house, but they were their pride of place until well into our teenage years. Grandpops has always been there to lend a wise ear with any problems we've had, be it with school, university or work, to help talk things through and provide us with his perspective to help put our mind at ease. And still now, we'll always meet up in Leicester to have a proper catch-up and for me to give him all the updates on moving to new cities, navigating new workplaces and how to make the best out of the situation over a coffee or some lunch. Laughing about both of our experiences with terrible managers and how to make the best way forward. And despite moving further away from home, I'll always value the time that we set a day aside to spend some quality time together each month. And as Mum quite rightly said, seeing everyone here today brings to light the extent as to which your social life has continued to blossom over the last few years, as it now seems that you may be the busiest 90-year-old in the entire world. I've never seen someone with such a busy schedule, and we barely get a day that you're free nowadays, and we have to navigate your calendar more than anyone else's. Over the last couple of years, we've seen you busier than most people could wish to be at my age, let alone at 90. And it's great to see how many stories you've always got for us to catch up on when we do meet, and it's also lovely to finally put a face to a name for most of you all here today. And I think it really has been so great to see how active and social you've kept yourself, and I think we can all agree that it's so admirable that you make time for family and friends and don't waste a day. I just wanted to end by saying how much we all appreciate the time that you've given us over the years and continue to give us to this day. I personally value your time, knowledge and support now as much as I always have, and wish you the happiest and most memorable 90th birthday that we'll all remember with the fondest of memories.
We've also got another message from someone who couldn't be here because they're in America. See if this works. Okay, somewhere else. Here we go.
Happy birthday, Brian. Hard to believe, but it's been almost 45 years since you and I well, let me rephrase it. Since you bumped into me at SMPTE in LA, and it's been quite a ride, and that ride has been actually because of all your efforts. And I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you in the early days and promoting the CBK as we did. And I appreciate everything you did to keep Cook alive during the dark Grahamston days, including it up until I was able to purchase it, and we then we together made a major success of the business. Could not have happened without all your efforts, and I sincerely wish you a happy and healthy and prosperous birthday, and may you have many more. So, happy birthday, Brian. Take care.
Okay, so we've had a cake made for you. So, a friend of mine has made this cake. If you move to the side, sorry, has made this cake. So that is Dad.
Hold on, Sue, we need to take the packaging off because no one can see it. Yay! We can see it now. Woo!
So a friend of mine made this cake, which is Dad on a suitcase, which has all names on it, such as Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, USA. Next to him, he has his laptop, because of course he's always on his laptop at some point. His cappuccino for when we meet for coffee, and his slice of cake. We've also got sort of some Balti food and some Chinese food here, as well as a wok. A globe for all your travelling. Now the material at the back is the fabric from 1970s travelling with Wiltmel Bromley. And then of course your little award that you've got at home, Mickey has sort of tried to replicate that on the front. So here you are, Dad.
Well, come on. This is a real surprise.
Really?
But no, where do I start? It's lovely to have you all here. It is a very special occasion. I mean, recently I had a letter from my local Bilston surgery, and it was my medical history, and I read through it and I thought, good God, you know, anybody reading this think, what's he still doing here? Unbelievable. But you know, it's the comments from the boys and from Sue. It's very moving. It's lovely to have you all here. We haven't got everybody here who we invited to, but if we can just start with the message from America, which Chris has kindly given us. This is Les Zellum. This goes back to 1981, and at the time I was still quite new at Taylor Hobson, making a visit to Los Angeles, and two young guys came up to the stand, Les Zellum and Guy Gennon, wanting to sell lenses, and it was the beginning of a long-standing relationship. He was not the easiest of men to deal with at times. He was a good and very shrewd businessman, but we always did get on well together. We fought a lot of battles together to save the Cook lens business. And I think it's quite poignant, and I'm sure Alison will agree with me. It's coincided with the Cook Optics business just about, unfortunately, coming to an end at this moment. I mean, here we have a government talking about the need to expand industry and whatever, and here we are in the throes of one of Leicester's high-tech industries looking at making the remaining 50 people redundant. You know, it just does make us question just where are we all going. But looking at my own life, yes, it's been very full. I had I served my apprenticeship at Wilt Mellor Bromley, and that was a good many years ago. And I went on to sales. I never considered myself as a salesman. I was more interested in building up a business, and this brought me into a lot of conflict with other people. But I felt this was the route to go. I had my own ideas on things, and eventually I did decide to move on from the Bentley Group to Taylor Hobson, and that was a good move. Looking back, one thing you do when you do reach 90, you do start to reflect on your life, because you're not going to climb any more mountains, not at this stage of life. And at Taylor Hobson now, what a great crowd of colleagues to work with. Amazing. And so supportive. It's lovely to have some here today. And on top of that, the film industry was an amazing industry at that time to be involved in on the facilities side. And I look back now and the opportunities I had to travel, including Russia, China, Japan, different cultures and whatever, different challenges and whatever, but you know, a tremendous experience which I never would have had otherwise. And it's the people, not only at Taylor Hobson, the people I've been able to meet on my travels. And I look back now and think, yes, I'm glad I had that opportunity. And yes, it did involve having to leave the family, but from Sue's speech today, we all survived. In fact, what I do see in both my daughters, it's amazing really. As they are today, I realise I was very much the same when I was their age. It runs in the family. So, you know, it's, you know, I think, well, they've learnt as well. Also my two grandsons, I've always aimed to give them support right from a very young age. Two young men now. And I think it's very, very important that as the older generation, we do listen to the younger generation today. Because let's be under no illusions, the challenges they are facing are very different to what we had 30, 40, 50 years ago. On that note, it's lovely to have you all here today. There are unfortunately a few missing who would love to have been here, but unfortunately are not able to make it. But it's lovely to have you here, and especially with my family. We're a small family, but very close family. So I'd just like to close by saying thank you all very, very much for coming along. It's a great pleasure to meet you all again. I'm sure from this, and certainly with the arrival of Stefan and Andre, this could be the revival of long overdue friendship again within our family. Yeah. And because I would just add, Stefan and Andre, their mother and I were very close. We go back to the early war years. And you know, you suddenly start to think, oh gosh, you belong to a generation that's many, many years. You know, you're talking to their great-grandparents' time. It makes you realise how old you are. But I think it's great that we are coming together. That's really good. And on that note, I'd like to thank you all for making this, what for me, I wanted to be a special day. And yes, you are making it a very, very, very special day. Thanks a lot.